What's going on, guys? It's your boy Big Hero Chris back at you with another one. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, give me a thumbs up, ring the notification bell, hit me up on Twitter, TikTok, the community post, Bluesky. You already know the vibes, and I'm back at you with your Monday Night Raw review. And I know I said when Raw went 2 hours, I was gonna review it more. My bad. I didn't go up to my end of the deal, but I couldn't miss this. This is the first Raw of the Netflix era. We're back to 3 hours, but I couldn't miss this. It's a big night, man. It's big moves, big action. And for me personally, it's kind of weird seeing Raw and anything outside of USA, because that's what I grew up on. I grew up on Raw being on the USA Network. There was a brief time period when it was on Spike TV and TNN, but for me, the USA Network was always home for Monday Night Raw. So now with the whole Netflix deal and the whole Netflix presentation, it's weird because it's something different, but different is good. And in this case, it's real good because Netflix really rolled out the red carpet, rolled out the money, rolled out the production for Monday Night Raw, because this felt like a mini pay-per-view. Like, it didn't feel like a full-blown pay-per-view, but it felt important, it felt big time, it felt major. This was something I didn't really get to talk about on my Dynamite review. I don't want to make this a whole AEW versus WWE thing, but one issue I did have with the AEW Dynamite this past week was the fact that it was the first time that AEW was simulcasting on Netflix as well as TBS, and it didn't really feel special. It didn't feel major. It didn't feel like you're ushering in something new. It didn't really feel like anything different. It just felt like another episode of Dynamite. Whereas with Raw, this being the first episode on Netflix, it felt important. It felt major. Yeah, it had like older superstars show up, like The Rock and Undertaker and Hulk Hogan, but you also built on the stories that's already happening on Raw and giving people a reason to watch next week and the week after that and the week after that. So I just wish AEW would have done a little bit more of that. But you're not here to hear me talk about AEW. You're here to hear me talk about WWE, Netflix, Raw. And of course, you already know if it's something major, it has to start the same way every single time, with Triple H being the front man, being the guy to welcome us, asking us the $1 million question: are you ready? I figured this was going to happen. I figured that Triple H would be the first person out to welcome us to Monday Night Raw. But after this, you already see the shirt, man. You already know the vibes. You already know what time it is. The Rock announced this past weekend that he was going to pull up to Raw on Netflix, and he did not lie. He did not disappoint. The final boss was here. The High Chief, the man himself, the People's Champion, The Rock, pulled up. And I was expecting full final boss. I was expecting, some curse words. He said bullshit, so that's one, I guess. But as far as it being the final boss Rock, it wasn't really final boss Rock. It was really just The Rock. And I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at The Rock because The Rock is my favorite wrestler. However, it felt different. It felt really tonally different from what we've been getting the past few months with The Rock as far as this whole final boss character. This Rock felt like, just The Rock coming out, hitting the classics, hitting the if you smell, hitting the finally, talking to the people, which is cool. It's always cool to see The Rock, but it was just different. One thing was different was the fact that he acknowledged Roman Reigns as the tribal chief, didn't mention Solo as the tribal chief. He shouted out Cody Rhodes and asked Cody Rhodes to tell Mama Rose he says hi, But it didn't feel like the same Rock we've been seeing these past few months. He's been beating up Cody Rhodes, who's been doing this, The last time we saw The Rock was at the end of Bad Blood, and you saw Roman Reigns standing in the same room with Cody Rhodes, and The Rock was standing at the top of the ramp doing this. So you figured something was going to come to this, and nothing ever did. The Rock just shouted out Roman Reigns, gave Cody a hug, and he took off. And it's like, okay, maybe this is a big swerve. Maybe this is setting up something. Maybe The Rock's going to interfere with Tribal Combat, which was actually the opening match of the night. See, I thought with the announcement of The Rock pulling up on Raw, Roman Reigns being Roman Reigns, I just knew in my heart and in my soul that Tribal Combat would be the main event. But I was wrong. It was actually the opening match. And as far as Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa goes, it was good. A lot of people were saying it's better than Roman versus Jay for Tribal Combat. I would agree, man. I don't know what really went wrong with the Roman versus Jay match. I think that Roman Reigns got injured early into the Roman versus Jay match, and I think that's kind of what threw everything off. I could be wrong. I don't know, but this match was a whole lot better. It told a story. The only thing is, which at this point, it's the bloodline, so you already know what to expect. But I always thought that the rules of Tribal Combat was everyone stays in the back, no outside interference from either bloodline. But it's the bloodline, so you already know that Tama Tonga was going to pull up. You already know Jacob Fatu was going to pull up. You had Paul Heyman on the outside crying with the Umafawa. You had Sami Zayn and Jimmy Uso pull up. Kevin Owens hit Roman Reigns with a stunner. You think that he's going to cost Roman the Umafawa. Cody Rhodes pulls up and he starts fighting with Kevin Owens, and I'm thinking, all right, so now with all these guys out the way, The Rock is gonna show up. That's not what went down. What happened was the Roman Reigns hit the spear. He hit the ooh wah. 1, 2, 3. Once again, Roman Reigns is the undisputed, one and only, original, only tribal chief. The OTC is here. He's official. He has his Umafawa back. And the whole time you see him and Paul Heyman celebrating, you hear the crowd going up, and it's because The Rock is walking back to the ring. And I'm like, all right, here we go. And again, nothing happened. The Rock and Roman Reigns hugged. They dapped each other up. The Rock took the Umafawa from Paul Heyman and he presented it to Roman Reigns, and that was it. And they just celebrate. Everyone's throwing the ones up. The Rock's looking like a proud dad. And that was it. I'm like, that's it from The Rock? Because I know a lot of times with Dave Meltzer, he's reporting that, The Rock's not going to be at WrestleMania. And a lot of people say, nah, you can't have WrestleMania without The Rock, especially with the story that he's been telling with Cody and Roman. I don't know. The way The Rock was acting, it was like, all right, I'm here, because it's Netflix, it's LA, Tribal Combat, I'm paying homage to my Samoan heritage. But it's kind of like, all right, you guys got it from here. I'm just gonna fall back and do Hollywood stuff. So I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see what happens once WrestleMania comes around. But I don't know. But as for the near future, The Rock is gonna be back. He's not gonna be on Raw. He's not gonna be on SmackDown. He's gonna be on NXT tomorrow night. He was on Instagram Live promoting it. He was taking shots with Cody Rhodes. He was hugging Drew McIntyre. He was hanging out with Travis Scott, drinking and driving. I don't know. But you heard it here first. The Rock is gonna be on NXT tomorrow night. I couldn't believe my eyes. I'm like, okay, I definitely gotta watch. I already watched NXT as is, but I definitely gotta watch NXT. So, yeah. But as for the rest of Monday Night Raw, we had John Cena pull up. He's starting his retirement tour. The last time is now. He's got the towel out there. He's shouting out Stu. He's coming out, man. And he's talking about the tour. He's talking about the retirement. And he's talking about how a lot of people are speculating, well, who's his last match going to be against? Who's his WrestleMania match going to be against? Is it going to be against Jake Paul? Is it going to be against Gunther? He's naming off all these people. And he's saying as far as the 17th title reign, John Cena is not thinking it's going to happen because he hasn't won a match in like over 2,000 days. And I'm like, that's got to be capped because I'm pretty sure he won a tag team match with Kevin Owens like 2 years ago. But maybe 2 years ago is 2,000 days. I don't know how math works. But I'm pretty sure he did win the match. But John Cena is saying that he doesn't know, man. He doesn't know about this title reign. But then he starts thinking maybe he can win Money in the Bank. Maybe he can win Elimination Chamber. Maybe he can win the Royal Rumble. So I'm assuming John Cena is officially throwing his name in the hat. He's the first entrant in the 2025 Royal Rumble. So maybe John Cena wins. Maybe he faces Gunther. I don't know. But only time will tell, man. I'm always excited to see John Cena. Especially when he comes out. He's a dude from Boston who sometimes talks like he's a southern church preacher, from time to time. Hey, everyone's doing their own thing, man. Shout out to John Cena. Shout out to the gang. Speaking of the gang, you have a video package from Logan Paul. He's talking about the time for playing is over. He's committed. He's full-time. No more side hustles. No more side projects. I'm thinking he's locked into, Monday Night Raw. He's locked into WWE. So, good for him, I guess. Good for Logan Paul. good for the rest of us because we finally reached the end of the Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley saga. It's over. It's done. I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't really pay attention to the match. The only thing that did catch my attention was the fact that, you know, as Rhea Ripley's making her way to the ring, Michael Cole mentions Edge, and I said, no, that is not his name. His name is Cope. You call him by his correct name, god damn it. But yeah, man, Liv Morgan lost. She's no longer the women's world champion. Rhea Ripley is. Thank God, man. Thank God this feud is finally over. Hopefully they both can move on. This is like the WWE equivalent of Adam Cole and MJF. I'm just tired of it. We're all tired. Let's move on. So as Rhea Ripley is celebrating, she's walking back to the back, and then you hear the gong. The Undertaker comes out. He comes out on his motorcycle. He's coming out to American Badass. He does a full lap around the ring just to come back, and him and Rhea Ripley do the Undertaker pose. So, you know, that was cool. That was a cool rip moment for Rhea Bloody Ripley. You know, it's cool to see the Undertaker sometimes. But you know what's really cool? What's really cool? We cut to backstage. You see Adam Pearce. He's talking to Bayley, and then American May pull up. Chad Gable was talking about this is the year he wins singles gold. He wants anybody who can get it, and he says, line up your best. Send them out, man. I don't care. Send out your best luchadors. And the light bulb immediately went off. I'm like, yo, Chad Gable is wrestling Penta next week, man. I can feel it in my soul. I can feel it in my jellies. I can feel it in my soul, man. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be major. And apparently the original plan was for, you know, Penta to team up with Rey Mysterio and they fight the New Day. But I'm assuming plans changed. This was supposed to happen on the January 6th Raw. But it kind of makes sense because you have The Rock, you have John Cena, you have The Undertaker, you have another guy who I'm about to talk about, you have the main event, you have Tribal Combat. So it kind of does make sense to kind of move Penta to next week so he won't get lost in the shuffle. His debut can be kind of major and he can then do his thing. And the match next week should be fire, so I'm here for it. Cero miedo. So after this, we have Jey Uso taking on Drew McIntyre. And as Jey Uso is making his way to the ring, he's brought out by Travis Scott, who's holding a beer and smoking a spliff, man. And I'm like, we're definitely in the Netflix era because he's just got a joint, you know, he's lighting up, he's smoking and everything. And Pat McAfee tried to play it off. He's like, oh man, he's lighting sage. And I'm like, brother, that is not sage. You do not smoke sage. Trust me, I know. So Jey Uso and Travis Scott made their way to the ring. You know, they're eating. Michael Cole's eating. Pat McAfee's eating. The whole crowd's going crazy. And the match between him and Drew was really good. It was a really solid match. Jey Uso ended up getting the win with a surprise roll-up. Drew was going for a Claymore, and Jey kind of fell out. And Drew was trying to like pick up Jey, and he hit him with a surprise roll-up, and he got the win. So, yeah, man, I'm not mad at that at all. And this kind of explains why Jey didn't come out for the Tribal Combat, because he had his own match to get ready for. He had to get ready for Drew McIntyre. And I'm thinking that Drew McIntyre goes to SmackDown because at this point in the game, outside of maybe the World Heavyweight Championship, there's not really anything else left for Drew to do on Raw. So maybe he can head over to SmackDown and, you know, go after Cody or Kevin Owens or whoever for that WWE Championship. So good for you, Drew. Good for you, Jey Uso. Yeet. So after this, we have a video package from Gunther. He's talking about how great he is, you know, and how he's the greatest World Heavyweight Champion ever. And then we have a backstage segment with Gabriel and Iglesias. Fluffy, you know, he's talking, he's doing this thing. He interrupts the New Day. The New Day interrupt him, and the New Day's like, look, man, we're trying to get over why we turned on Big E. And Kathy Kelly's like, yeah, that's cool and all, but we don't have any more time. So, you know, the New Day heel turn is still going on strong. You know, they're still getting big crowd reactions. And apparently during the show, like, I got commercials, but like for international people, they got to see the whole segment with the New Day dissing Kendrick Lamar and saying Drake won the rap beef. So, you know, that's pretty funny. But what's not funny is the fact that we had to deal with Hulk Hogan. But what is funny is the fact that Hulk Hogan came out and he got booed out of the building. He's trying to promote his beer, and LA was not having it. They booed him to high heaven, and that made me happy. That made me laugh. That gave me warm feelings in my tum-tum. Shout out to Simon Miller. Speaking of warm feelings in your tum-tum, we go to the main event between Seth Rollins and CM Punk. And this match really lived up to the hype, man. It was everything I expected it to be. It was a really cool match, really good. You know, they're kicking out of each other's finishing moves. They're stealing each other's finishing moves. You know, you have CM Punk doing a curb stomp. You have Seth Rollins hitting a GTS. And the whole crowd is chanting, "This is awesome." I'm at home chanting, "This is awesome." They're chanting, "Fight forever." This was an overall fun match, man. At the end of the day, CM Punk ended up getting the win. Do they run this back? I don't know. Seth Rollins said in an interview that this is his WrestleMania, you know, him wrestling CM Punk. This was actually supposed to be the match that was supposed to happen at last year's WrestleMania, but, you know, CM Punk got injured and the whole Rock thing happened, so, you know, that it was what it was. But as far as this being a main event match, it was really good, man. I really enjoyed it. Fun match. CM Punk ended up getting the win with the GTS. He hit a GTS and then it ended up hitting another one, getting that 1, 2, 3. And that's it, man. That's the first Raw under the Netflix era. The presentation was good, you know. The camera shots were beautiful. They got so many beautiful camera shots. The entrances look really good. They changed the ring mat. So for Monday Night Raw, it's a black mat with the logos, the sponsors and everything, like Netflix and Fortnite and Hulk Hogan's pissy ass beard. And even on SmackDown, they did this, not necessarily the same thing, but they changed the ring mat to a blue mat. So I like those type of things where you know, each show gets a distinguished thing that separates it from the other show. And on top of that, the referees don't have the traditional black stripes. They had, you know, the black shirts with the WWE logo on it. So, you know, cool stuff, man. I'm excited. I really enjoyed the first episode of Netflix Raw. This gives a whole new meaning for Netflix and Raw, so, you know, there's that. But with that being said, guys, what did you think of this week's episode of Monday Night Raw? Let me know in the comment section below. Of course, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. You guys take care. Bees, I'm out. Peace.